And I think no one carries it the way he does. A remake that lives up to the style statement. I'm very fond of films also. So I think like all of us.
Hi Shiraz,
Hi Kunal, how are you? How nice to see you, and I'm happy we're finally doing this.
I know we've been planning it for a while and I'm so glad it's finally happening today.
Yeah, but now it's nice that we're doing it in this space, which can be informative, it can be good, it can be interesting. And also, I think at a time like this, it's always fun to do something like this. Now, let's start.
So today I have with me Shiraz Siddiqui, who is an ace stylist for top actors in India. He's worked with a number of people as amazing as Shah Rukh Khan to the latest Varun Dhawan. Shiraz is someone who has been my friend right from my first step into films and fashion, and our association since then has always just been growing fonder, happier, and more bonded. So, hi Shiraz, welcome to Call It Out.
Hi Kunal, thank you for having me.
So, do you want to start with your questions? Let's start.
No,
with
you
this
start
one.
with yours because you start with yours and then I'll get in the flow of kind of.
So, my first question to you today, Shiraz, is Amitabh Bachchan is an iconic, legendary film actor.
Of course.
Name 3 films of his in which he's made the winter overcoat a style statement.
Kabhi Kabhi. Then the second film would be Silsila. And I think third would be Kabhi Alvida Na Kehna because primarily his look was winter coats.
I thought you were going to say Kabhi Alvida Na Kehna first. That was our film together. So I thought that.
Yeah, but I went sequence wise, no? So
Absolutely.
in terms of
Yes,
yeah,
these
so
are
yeah.
the 3 films, and he is someone who's made winter coats in Indian fashion a style statement. And
Of
obviously
course,
he's a
and I
legend.
think no one carries it the way he does. So that answers your question.
Great, great. So, should I move on to my next question?
Of course.
So, my next question to you, Shiraz, is which is your favorite movie that was remade? We know that there have been so many, but which is your favorite that was remade?
My favorite would be Dawn. Shah Rukh Khan's film because I think it's a remake that lives up to the style statement. And originally, Dawn also with Amitabh Bachchan and Zeenat Aman was very very stylish as a film. Even now, if you have to see the film and you see the clothes of whatever they wore, be it his 3-piece suits and be it Zeenat Aman's clothes, her scarves, her long skirts, everything was so on point at that time. And if you even see the film today, it looks very very stylish. And I think what they recreated with Dawn, that Farhan had directed, the first one with Priyanka Chopra and Shah Rukh, that also I think looked extremely stylish. Every character had a very strong and distinct look. And yeah, so I think I would say Dawn would be my favorite.
Okay, so my next question to you, Shiraz, is in the film Hum Tum, Saif Ali Khan's look was very peculiar. Who was the inspiration behind that look? And that actually also became the iconic dialogue in the film. So tell me who's the actor, who was the inspiration for Saif Ali Khan's look in Hum Tum?
Actually, that's a very interesting question.
Again, a very good-looking actor, Hollywood actor.
Would it be Tom Cruise? Because I've always found them very similar.
You're sure, Tom Cruise?
Yeah, because I think there was a dialogue also on that in the film.
Absolutely, you're absolutely bang on right. It is Tom Cruise. And yes, there was a dialogue in the film which became an iconic line.
Correct.
Yes, you're bang on. But obviously, Shiraz, your film knowledge, your film GQ is on point already.
I think because I'm very fond of films also. So I think like all of us, yeah.
Great. So moving on to my next question. Now these are basically option questions. You need to tell me your answer accordingly.
Okay.
My next question is Shah Rukh Khan in Kabhi Alvida Na Kehna, or Shah Rukh Khan in Om Shanti Om, or Shah Rukh Khan in Chennai Express. These are all 3 films that you've worked on. Which, according to you, is your favorite or close to heart or something that you really strongly relate to?
I would say Shah Rukh Khan and Om Shanti Om. It was so interesting. I mean, even from the script point of view, to have a 70s junior artist going into a superstar.
Correct, correct. There was a huge range. You remember us walking down the red carpet in the credit lines?
Of course, at the last shoot.
Last day, last shoot. My next question to you, Shiraz, is I'm going to show you a few images and you need to tell me the name of these films. Knowing that you're such a great movie buff, I'm sure you know almost all of them, but just let's see this. Name this film, Shiraz.
This, of course, is Hum Aapke Hai Kaun. Because Madhuri Salman.
Obviously, we know this.
Yeah. Madhuri Salman, and we grew up seeing this image. And I think it's also one of the first images in the 90s at that time that had this very color block scheme kind of feel to it, where it was just one color background and they both were in black, so both complement each other well.
And I think this was also an iconic twinning moment, I think, for them and became really strong.
This was a poster that was very popular also, so.
Absolutely. The next one is this.
This has to be Mad Men, of course.
Are you also a Don Dapper fan?
Not really, but I've not actually gotten to the series. I think I should see it. But yeah, this.
Oh, you must see it. It's superb. It's about ad agencies in the 50s, American ad agencies in the 50s, and the kind of creative chaos that there is, and the kind of the politics, the involvement of each character. It's amazing, and obviously. Don Dapper is the central character who's super good, and his suits are to perfection. Superb. Definitely must watch it. This is recent. This you should know.
This is Padmavat. 100. This, of course, also. Iconic. Shiraz look really stands out. He looked very regal and nice in the film. His costumes, and of course, each visual is beautiful. It's like a painting.
That's the beauty of a Sanjay Leela Bhansali film. Every frame looks like a portrait. It's stunningly done. Like everything about it.
This, of course, is a very a favorite for all of us. This is the Great Gatsby.
Are you sure it's not the Wolf of Wall Street?
No, not at all. Because this look and I'm very clear. Of course, this is one of the most beautiful films that I've seen.
I completely agree. It's one of my favorite period films because there's so much strong attention to detail, attention to costume, the look, the setup, everything about it. Like, great. The next one is
Top Gun.
This you must
Top
know.
Gun for sure. This we've all grown up seeing. Yeah, and this is beautiful. And of course, I think.
And this is, I think, one of Tom Cruise's turning point movies, where he kind of not only in terms of costume created a legendary look, but also I think for his career, this film did a lot more.
Yeah. It consolidated his position, and also I think he made the whole leather jacket, white t-shirt, blue jeans very popular.
Moving on to my last question, but I feel, why don't you do your questions and then I'll come back to my last question.
Okay, fine. So my first question to you is that what is the biggest difference you feel, because you're fully into mainstream design, what is the difference you feel when you worked on films doing costume design and when you're doing mainstream design now? So what is the difference you see as a designer when you're designing something for an actor for a film, and when you're designing something equally glamorous for a client who has to wear it, of course, personally, but not for a film? So what do you kind of see?
I think what the biggest difference I feel between designing for a client and designing for an actor is where the brief starts from. Usually when you're working with an actor, then obviously you are like a client, considering their personality, everything, the taste, this, that, everything. But for an actor, for a celebrity, usually that there is a brief that comes on the table before you start working on. So that you have to kind of make sure that this is his film character, this is the brief, this is the portion of the film where he needs this costume. Whilst for a client, there is a lot more open canvas to kind of paint on. I think that's one of the strong differences between the two. The amount of hard work is the same.
Okay, my next question to you is, there is so much happening around in design today, and there are so many designers and so many stylists. What do you feel is important in this chaos that there is today to stand out as a designer? Like, what do you feel are maybe just two essentials you as a brand need to kind of live up to keep, to sustain uh, your growth, or to kind of just be around, because there are so many people doing it. So what do you feel is your philosophy that is important, which you feel is going to really help you last for very, very long?
True. I think the first thing that comes to my mind for this is that you need to be very consistent. You have to kind of time and again keep inventing yourself. Keep digging inside to kind of rework on thoughts, rework on ideas that you've been doing. I mean today, because like you said, there is so much of competition, and there are so many people who are really good at what they're doing. One can't afford to become complacent, even for a season. And the second I feel is one needs to be a little more aware and compassionate towards using stuff which is from India, like use a lot of locally produced stuff, use stuff which is what our country is known for, rather than just following a trend which is meant for the international market. Today I am a designer based in India, so that needs to kind of come forth on the table. I need to kind of use such a huge, strong, culturally rich heritage background and explore from that, and at the same time be able to kind of use the kind of amazing craftsmanship that we have in our country. So I think these are the two factors, and especially during the pandemic, I mean, there are so many people who are finding it so difficult to sustain. All of us kind of are, finding it the pinch of the whole situation, and it's best to kind of hold hands with each other and kind of move on, help each other sustain. So I think these are the two things I think which are very important and relevant to kind of consistently.
And from all the films you worked on as an assistant when you were learning, what is the film that you kind of learned the most on? And what was it that you learned from that film that has in fact helped you today?
Every film kind of teaches you a very different version of your work. I feel like, every time you're dealing with another stylist or another actor or another production, the storyline is different, the character is different. So every film kind of teaches you a lot. But I just feel like, and that the same actually applies to not just films but also fashion. Every time you're creating a new collection, every fashion week show that I'm doing, every lookbook I'm doing, every campaign shoot I'm doing, I think every time there's something stronger that I learn. And like I said earlier, we kind of, every learning process that we go through kind of becomes a part of our knowledge, and then that keeps accumulating, and that's how we kind of progress. So I think it's difficult to name one film. I think every film teaches you something.
Correct. Okay. Then my next question to you is: do you ever feel that sustainable fashion that is done within a certain price range, that is kind of wearable, which you can keep wearing? Do you ever see that getting into a very glamorous space? Or do you feel that kind of fashion will never ever become very glamorous and it'll stay in a space of where it's supposed to stay?
I mean, sustainability is something which is not necessarily only organic. And yes, if you're using organic product, like you're using organic fabrics or fabrics dyed with organic dyes, or whatever, all that kind of product, if you're using, obviously there is a way to kind of make it. You elevate the whole product. There are way too many designers who are doing that kind of work, and have created a very strong niche in the glamour of fashion industry. So I feel there is a lot of scope. However, I feel sustainability is not just about using organic produce. It's got a lot to do with the term itself. Organic produce is just one of the aspects of sustainability. Sustainability means the ability to sustain. It's as simply spoken as that. So when you're talking about that, the sky is the limit. There's so many options to explore for. So I feel it's very easy and very possible to kind of adapt it into something which is larger than life or glamorous or grand, as how fashion is perceived to be.
And my last question for you is that, would you ever, if you had to make a choice, like if you got an offer to design for a film, and you knew that your own brand of clothes would kind of take a setback for maybe a few months, if you had to make a choice, would you do it, or would you not venture into it because you feel this is exactly what you only focus on doing?
I love films. Everyone who knows me knows that I'm a huge film buff. I love watching films and I love being associated with films. And why not, for that matter. But having said, I'm very passionate about what I do as well. I have had the chance of working on n number of films in my life, and I've really been blessed to kind of work with like really great actors and great teams, to work with whilst I was assisting, and even when I'm individually independent. So that has happened for me, and but yes, luckily for me, my fashion label is kind of a little sorted now. It's established in a way that I can, if I wish to, step out and do films. I think I can manage it. I think I have the ability to multitask it and make sure the label doesn't suffer, but at the same time I can have the fun and enthusiasm and the excitement of being associated with a film costume, of course.
Okay, done.
So coming back to my last fun question for you, Shiraz, is the following. It's basically buy or burn. So I'll give you an option. You need to tell me, will Shiraz buy this or will Shiraz burn?
Okay.
Good to go?
Yes.
So my first option to you, Shiraz, for buy or burn is bootcut jeans, bootcut trousers. What do you think? Buy or burn?
I would say burn.
Why?
No, I'm not particularly fond of it because I just feel that it doesn't. I feel it doesn't flatter every body type, and it's very selective, So it's not a favorite in a certain. It doesn't have. I wouldn't find it versatile. So burn definitely.
My next option for you to buy or burn is fanny packs.
Buy definitely. Yeah, it looks very cool, and you've given me one also, I remember, and I still have it, and I think it's such an intelligent thing that you've done, and yeah, I think it makes it very easy to have that on and work, so I think it's multi-purpose, multifunctional. It's definitely it's great.
My last option for you, Shiraz, for buy or burn, will Shiraz buy or burn an oversized garment?
Buy for sure. I think it's very cool.
You like it?
Yeah, I like it because I feel if it works, then I think it's very interesting, and I think it's very cool right now, and oversized for sure. Yeah, I definitely would buy it.
This is kind of coming to an end of our session today, but before we sign off, Shiraz, today, could you please help us with few tips for people who are kind of aspiring to become stylists in films and fashion, and who are only dreaming of working with the kind of actors you've already worked with? So it'll be fun if you could share some tips for people who are aspiring to become something that you already have become.
So I would say keeping the focus on wanting to work with the kind of actors that I have worked with can't be a focus in a certain sense, and I think it's very nice, it's very good that you've put it out there, because a lot of people start with wanting to do it with that thought, but that's actually the wrong thought to have, because it's about the work, and I think you need to,
like they say, learn to walk before you jump.
yeah, and
So that needs to happen, and a lot of people kind of don't understand the intense hard work that you need to put in to reach a certain level in this industry.
yeah,
And everyone wants to, jumpstart, which is not always the best.
and it's not about the hard work only, it is about understanding film, so I would say the best way to do it would be to be on a film set working on a film. So I would say being clear of the kind of costume design you want to do and working with a costume designer on those kind of films, because that's when you're on set. Also because film clothes have to fit a certain way, which doesn't happen when you're doing mainstream clothes. So I think it's being on a set and seeing how that world works as opposed to what is happening realistically outside. So yeah.
I think that's absolutely right, because the reality behind the screen is a lot different than what people outside perceive. They almost always feel that, films and fashion so glamorous, and everyone's like, it sounds like a movie in itself, but it's actually not. The amount of hard work and blood, sweat, tears that go into it is insane. But this was a great session, Shiraz. Thank you so much for taking time. I know you've been crazy busy, and
No, it's always a pleasure. Thank you so much.
thank you so much, Shiraz. Speak to you soon.